Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the only referral podcast where you can get real stories of real people getting real referrals. Every week, we share inspiring stories and practical tips from people like you to take your repeat and referral business to the next level. I invite you to join our free private Facebook group. Go to joingengen.com. That's joingengen.com, and we'll add you to our referral group. I'm your host, Michael J. Maher, and I'm so excited to share today's episode with you. So let's get started. Welcome everyone to yet again another amazing podcast. This is an amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I can't wait for you to dive into the morsels of goodies we have for you today. And today it is about clarity is power. Ask these 4 questions before you do anything to start your workday. I'm going to share with you those 4 questions that I ask myself every day during the workday or before the workday to make sure that I have clarity on my day and that I'm working on the most important things. We all know that the most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. Though do we? We don't always do that. Sometimes we get off track. Well, if we have maybe a series of questions that allow us to make sure that we're on the right track, in the right train, with the right people on that train, then guess what? We're going to have a better business. We're going to have a better day, and we're going to have better results, which is what we want. Speaking of better results, I don't know if there are better results to a wife than my guest today. I have Sherry L. Maher with referralspodcast.com with Referco here today. I love her cute. You're going to have to watch this on YouTube, people. She's got an awesome little, what is that? That Referco, what is that? You've got a Referco logo on something pretty cool. Is that a hoodie?
It's my hoodie or my fleece.
Okay.
It's a zip up fleece.
That looks sharp. I like that. Very nice.
You wouldn't expect to wear it at the end of April, but for some reason it turned cold in Atlanta today.
Yeah, so it's a little chilly. And for all those of you keeping score at home, today is Sherry Maher's birthday. And I know that you're listening to this maybe the day after her birthday, or you could be listening to this 3 years later, who knows? But the bottom line is today is her birthday. And with that thought in mind, I want to throw out a challenge to all of you, the watchers, listeners, and also those of you in our Gen group, the Generosity Generation. Is Sherry's birthday is also Earth Day. Sherry is one of the most earthy people that I know. She loves to hike. She loves the outdoors. She loves to drag me outside to do landscaping projects and that I love to do sometimes, not very often. And guess what? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to plant a tree. I want you to plant a flower. I want you to get flowers for your house at the very least. First thing is plant a tree, right? Plant a tree. Go get a tree. There's probably a place in your yard around that needs a tree. Plant a tree. And not only that, the end of this week is Arbor Day. So we can mark it for Arbor Day. We can mark it for Sherry's birthday. You can mark it for Earth Day, whatever you want, but plant a tree. Plant a flower, plant a bush, do some yard work, take a picture of the results. I want you to take a picture and put them in GenGen, joingengen.com, and just wish Sherry a happy birthday all week. And let's do some of that. Now, let's say you live in a condo and maybe there's no room to plant anything. Buy yourself some flowers, put it on the island or the dining room table, and take a picture of that. Let's do some flowers for Sherry. And just so everyone knows here, her favorite type of flower is the sunflower, the state flower of Kansas. And the sunflower is very representative of my dear partner. Very sunny and bright and beautiful, and dear love them. So So let's get right to it. Happy birthday, Sherry Mayer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we did, between her sister, myself, and Max, we did the 12 days of birthday, which was fun, culminated in some banana ducks and some shoes for our honey, and a lot of cool things. So it last night we got to do a lot of that with the three of us. So it was very
And
cool.
Max got me flowers that can never die.
Which are the best kind of flowers, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and it mixed like Legos and sunflowers. And I thought it
Yeah.
was just genius. Beautiful
Yeah. He
idea.
made me a bouquet of sunflowers out of Legos. So
Yeah, very cool. And
yeah.
I'm really surprised they're not on that little table behind you by
I know.
by
I was
the
just thinking, I can't
yeah,
believe I haven't, I left them up on the dining room table.
yeah, yeah.
So they're so cool.
There's going to be a great place for those. So, speaking of great place to get started. So, when I come into the office, I have a sheet that's in front of me every day. And um, these are the four clarifying questions. In all the podcasts I've done before, sometimes I touch on them. A lot of my masterminds, I talk about them. But I've never gone into depth. I've really never, like, I mean, out of all the questions in the world that you could ask yourself, why is it these four? I mean, think about that. What if we could, I mean, could you imagine all the questions we should ask of ourselves? And honestly, I truly believe that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your questions. The quality of your questions. What is the difference between answers and questions? Answers are already in you and it shows no increase in knowledge or wisdom. But with a question, first of all, a question is humility in reality. It's humility. And you're going to gain wisdom by asking questions. So the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. Well, let's take that even a step further. What if I told you the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions to yourself or of yourself? I believe that's the answer. And that's what makes these questions so powerful is that it cuts right to the root of what will make your life more fulfilling and your business most productive. Talk about four powerful questions. Well, why are they powerful? Clarity is power. Clarity is power. The more clear you are, the more likely you're going to achieve it, attack it, and maybe even master it. So that's kind of the intro on what we wanted to talk about. And we're going to jump right in. The first question, and this is why I love the book, The One Thing from Gary Keller, is the first question is what is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else is either easier and or unnecessary? What is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else is easier and or unnecessary? And we can apply this to any phase of our life, the health, the wealth, the happiness, whatever it may be, right? I mean, what is the one thing in health such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier and or unnecessary? For many people, it might be eating right. And honestly, I think 80% of my success or failure when it comes to how I look and feel comes down to what I ate and how I eat. It really 80%. Now, I can also say the other 20% is lifting weights. Like my body loves lifting weights. So, Sherry, what's your like one thing health wise, would you say? What is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes like easier or unnecessary?
Yeah, and that's been a question that I've personally been asking for like the last almost 2 years. I guess when women are lucky enough to get to a certain age, like all hell breaks loose. Like there are no longer any rules and your hormones are different and like everything has changed for me physically
Mm.
in the last 2 years, which has been extremely frustrating. But the one thing that I found, and it's just been within the last probably couple of months, is intermittent fasting has really,
Hmm.
um, I haven't, I guess I should probably weigh myself, but like I don't ever weigh myself. I don't think I've lost weight. But I've lost it just seems like I get bloated for no reason.
Hmm.
And so like I've lost the bloat. So maybe I have lost weight. I don't know. But so I do intermittent fasting from 8 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock the next day. So I only eat between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Okay. So I think one of the beauties of doing this podcast is I honestly didn't understand maybe how much frustration you've been feeling with menopausal and hormones and everything else that's going on. So first of all, I hear you, and I was wondering why you were flapping your shirt at night a lot. Um, but I knew that you got hot and cold a lot, but I didn't realize maybe the frustration that was involved with that. So your question becomes like, what is the one thing such that by doing it, like everything else becomes better as far as this, like coping with menopause, right? Coping with hormonal changes. And you found that maybe one of the parts of doing that is intermittent fasting. And I know a lot of people who have had a lot of success with intermittent fasting and the fasting through breakfast. Basically, it's
Mhm.
the all the people breakfast is the most important meal, right? I mean, how we've heard that literally. I mean, you're breaking the fast of sleeping. It's been your body has been without food for 8, 9 hours, and we're breaking the fast. Well, all those people who skip breakfast forever are now like, yeah, we were right. Maybe you should skip breakfast because you're going to have more clarity in the morning. You're going to have more focus in the morning. You're going to. And I've heard a lot of people who have really had some great success stories with, doing the noon to eight, not eating until around noon and then being finished eating at 8 p.m. So, very cool. And I think once again, we can apply that to wealth. For some people, it might be the one thing wealth wise is, trying to sell something every day. Or, it's the rainmaker's affirmation each and every day. Someone somewhere in my city needs my services. My job today is to find that person. That is a wealth one thing, definitely. And then, happiness. What is the one thing such that by doing it every day would increase your happiness, right? And I think that's the beauty of that question is we can apply it. A lot of times, I would say 95% of the time, I apply that to business. What is the one thing such that and for me right now, it's curriculum development, it's BAM, it's SAM, and it's event mastery tweaks. And here's the thing is another really big thing you need to know is momentum is coming and doing momentum and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But what is the one thing such that by doing for many of you it's going to be momentum. That is going to be the one thing that if you just do it every day, then you're going to get the results instead of trying to push the wheel every single day, which leads us into the second clarifying question. And this question is, where do I or we have momentum right now? It's the momentum question, right? So we had the one thing question. Now we have the momentum question, and this question, I truly believe, like doing this for now about 18 months, every day for 18 months, I've discovered that and this is what birthed the momentum challenge is that this is the big one. Like this is where things lead to results the fastest is where you have momentum. What relationship do you have momentum? And it's like, well, I don't know. Well, let's say you invited people to an event. The ones who RSVP'd yes, you have momentum. Listen to this. The people who RSVP'd no, you have momentum. The people who didn't respond, no momentum. So who should we focus on? We should focus on the people who RSVP'd. Now with the no's, we're going to keep maybe communicate with them because the no sometimes turns into yes. At least they're communicating with you. With the yeses, we're going to continue to communicate with them and keep that momentum to the point where they show up at some different location, right? And then, all right, so let's say 200 say yes, and then 180 show up. Who do we have momentum with? Who should we focus on? The 20 who didn't show or the 180 who showed up? The 180 showed up. Well, guess what? When they were there, they did the referral system at some point. They did something when they RSVP'd, filled out a form, or they filled out a form for the door prize system, or they filled out a form for the follow-up survey, or you're going to get a follow-up survey out to them that will ask questions that are going to lead to keeping the momentum. Now, let's say 180 came to the event. Let's say 30 referred you. Who are you going to like? Where's your focus, right? Where do you have the most momentum? I'm telling you, if somebody refers you, you've got a lot of momentum in that relationship. So what do you do with the 30? And then at that point, you're like, well, the what's next could be an event for the 30, could do an event for the 30, right? Ambassador event. Or you could do one-to-ones with those that referred you the most, or you could do a one-to-one with all 30 over the next 30 days, something like that. So it's one of those where, there's always a what's next and you're always in momentum. And we want to be building relationships, especially to the 10 level, right? So there's a lot of places you can have momentum other than you can have momentum with health. That's a great, or lack of momentum with health. You go to the gym, that's momentum. That's when you went to the gym, you walked 1 minute on the treadmill. That's momentum. That's why I believe in the 1 degree tweak. Here's the thing that we know from Newton's laws of energy. It is that it takes a lot to get an object to overcome inertia. You have to push pretty hard on a big rock. You do. But once it is in motion, it tends to stay in motion. So you don't have to push it anymore. That's momentum, is when that rock is going. Maybe you have to tap it a little, but you've got this great momentum going. So it's really hard to start momentum. It's really easy to keep momentum. So we want to keep momentum. So you just keep going to the gym. And here's what I know about most people. You go to the gym, you do 1 minute on the treadmill, and then you're like, all right, I'm going tomorrow. You go to the gym, you're probably going to do more than 1 minute on the treadmill. The hardest part is to get your butt to the gym. Well, you've got momentum, so keep it up, keep going. Sherry, what do you think about that question in general, as far as, where do you have momentum right now?
Well, I mean, I think it can be applied, to 1,000 areas of your life. It could be deep and philosophical, or it can be, not. Momentum, like you said, is the first step into, something like for me personally, like another thing that I do every morning is I have to do something creative every morning, or else I just get bottled up. So a lot of times it's like journaling, or like, and my journals aren't just like a notebook of writing. My journals are more
Very
like
decorative.
art journals, right? Like
doodling on steroids.
like I think in color and texture and pattern. I don't think in like, I don't know. So like my journals are colorful and art based. So like every day that I can like paint or do something like that is great. So one of the things that I've been wanting to do for like a year is I wanted a new Bible that I could take notes in, instead of like I have my Bible and then I have like a different notebook, or like I have all these things where I've written notes down. So I'm like, what, do they even make something like that? And I found out they did, that you can like actually take notes in your Bible. I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And so, but I haven't bought it, right? Because it's, whatever. I just haven't. So I mentioned it to my sister, and you know what? Lo and behold, yesterday from Amazon, I get a Bible that you can journal in. So like I now have momentum in this new creative project that I want to get started on. So it's like I have momentum there, and it's it's the tiniest thing,
Mm-hmm.
but like I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to go in there and start doing that. So
Yeah.
getting momentum is easy, and I think once you can notice the tiniest thing, right? Like my sister buying me a new Bible. I have
Mm-hmm.
momentum there for that project now. It's
Yeah.
the tiniest thing can give you momentum. So it doesn't have to be like you know, like, oh, you've got the listing. That's the momentum.
Mhm.
That is a huge push of momentum,
Yeah.
right? You
Well,
definitely have
what'd you do to
momentum
get the
there.
listing though? Right? You had to meet with someone, right?
Right,
And well, what'd you do to meet with someone? You
right.
had to have done a phone call or
Right.
and
And you
you
had
had
to
to keep,
prepare and
right.
you had
You
to
had
do
to
all this stuff.
keep the momentum. And yeah, I love that. And you talk about you've got momentum with that project and it's a habit that you want to create, right?
Right.
And you have great habits in the morning as far as like yoga and you do silence extremely well with your morning ritual. And you've got that, that thing that Miles looks forward to every morning to be your morning ritual partner, right? And is, the fact that that's in my weight room and I have fuzzy little blankets and a
My
really
pink
soft.
yoga mat and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Miles's little
Yeah, and we're
dog.
down there, me and Max listening to angry music. And it's like I have to just take all that stuff out to stay with the mindset of moving heavy weights. It's like, all right, we got to get rid of the fluffy stuff. But I mean, I jotted down like some ways to gain momentum. And so one is you can ask a question of someone. Like that's how like somebody's not paying attention to you. What do you do with your kids? Max, hey Max, what do what are you doing? Or where are you going? Or what are we doing? The way to get somebody's attention is to ask them a question. So, they're all over the place. Well, what happens is how do you get them to refocus back is ask them a question. So, great thing to do with your database, great thing to do in a conversation is if you feel, just ask a question. Another one along those lines is ask for advice. Ask for advice from somebody. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Another one is report back. Something that I did really well early on is I would go to lunch with really successful people. I wasn't looking for business. I was just looking to get better. I was looking to learn. And I would ask, like, what is the secret to success? Like, what do you think what do you think the characteristics of somebody who is successful is? And they would tell me, well, I kept that. I kept that in my blessings book. I guess Sherry and I are journalers together. We just keep different notes. But I would keep notes on the conversation. And then down the road, let's say somebody said resilience is one of the most important parts of being successful. Well, let's say down the road, I did something where I showed resilience. I was really resilient for a client or we just stuck to it even though we had a difficult transaction. I would report back to that really successful person and say, just had a really difficult transaction. There's a lot of stuff going on, very complex transaction. But I kept remembering you said resilience. Be resilient, keep going, keep going. And I just want you to know I really appreciated that advice back then. Well, that conversation, that person would pour into me even more and even in many cases refer me and because I just reported back. So you can gain momentum with someone with reporting back. And then of course, I'm going to say invite someone to an event. You haven't talked to your database in a while. Schedule an event in 8 weeks and start inviting them to an event. You're going to get momentum with the ones that are going to move towards you, right? So another way to get momentum from a habit standpoint, like Sherry was talking about, is build off a habit you're already doing. So if you want to clean your face as well as brush your teeth, right? So you've got this great habit of brushing your teeth at night. Well, just add washing your face as part of your nightly ritual, right? So it's and this is straight from the Max Maher School of Nightly Ritual. And it's like, all right, so take off your contacts, throw them away, um, you know, put your glasses on or have your glasses ready, and then brush your teeth, and then wash your face, and then it's like, all right, we can build off that, and it's called habit stacking. One of the best ways and fastest ways to attract a good habit is take a habit you already have and build off of it.
Mhm.
An instance might be you drink coffee in the morning. You could add something to the coffee. One thing you could do if you need more protein is you could add protein powder to your coffee to add protein to your mix. But you could also say, all right, I'm going to have my coffee and I'm going to do my 4 clarifying questions for the day. And it goes with your first coffee. You could do that. Could you do that? Yes, you could do that. Why do I know that? Because I do it. So, all right. So that is the second question. Once again, I'm going to I truly believe that might be the most important of the 4 questions. And I'm not just saying that because we have momentum coming up. And what is momentum? It's really the momentum challenge. I'm creating a challenge. You're going to be able to do any 30 days you want. You could literally plug it in June 11th and go to July 11th and it would still be applicable. And for whenever you need momentum, I'm hoping we'll have this momentum challenge for you to turn to. And I am a huge believer in momentum. And I think a lot of people don't build momentum to the 10 level. I talk about the relationship scale a lot. And the relationship scale is 0 to 10. 0 is you don't know them, they don't know you. A 10 is an ambassador who speaks highly of you, refers you willingly, and they are an unpaid, or in some cases, paid salesperson on the streets for you every single day. That's a 10. Well, 1 to 3 on the relationship scale is no chemistry, right? You don't have a lot in common. In some cases, it's they speak a foreign language, so you can't communicate, or there's just no chemistry there. You don't have a lot in common. It doesn't jive. You probably had experiences with that. You probably had relationships like that, especially in the dating world, right? And then 4 through 7, this is what I would call like the friend zone, right? And 4 is someone you can spend like 3 minutes with, right? They're okay. And then after about 3 minutes, you've had that conversation, you're ready to move on. And then a 5 is somebody you could spend 3 hours with, like 3 hours. Like you could do a lunch and it's like awesome. And trust me, there's a little bit of a jump from a 4 to 5, but that makes sense. 5's in the middle. So, right. And then you've got the 6. Well, that's somebody you could spend 3 days with. This is somebody you spend a weekend with, your kids are there, and you guys just hang out for the weekend. It's boating or at the lake or at the park or on vacation or at baseball games or whatever. You just can hang out, and it's great. And, 6 is a really powerful relationship. And then you've got a 7. A 7 is someone you could hang out with for 3 weeks, like 3 weeks. Like you could go to Italy for 3 weeks, hang out. You could, do whatever you guys could coexist for 3 weeks. Some family members are that close. Not all of them, trust me on that. But, and then some, whatever it may be, right? Those are very special relationships. Now, speaking of special relationships, we now have the 8. The 8 is a customer or client or somebody who has entrusted you with a bunch of money or a financial decision. For a realtor, financial planner, insurance, an 8 is a client. It's a customer, right? So then a 9 is a champion. A 9 is someone who speaks highly of you. They are someone who brags about you. They're someone who's willing to say nice things publicly about you. Maybe it's someone who does a review or someone who did a 5-star or someone who did a recommendation or a testimonial for you. That would be a 9 or a champion. And then we have the 10s. The 10s are the ambassadors who speak highly of you, they refer you. They're not just great champions. It also leads to results. It leads to financial gain. It leads to lots of value. Well, what we do in life is typically we have this, like, it goes back to 10,000 BC. And I'm not going to tell the stampede story, but it goes back to 10. If you want to hear that story, that's an old podcast you can check out. But here's the thing is 10,000 BC, a shadowy figure rises over the horizon. What do we have? That doesn't happen very often. What do we got to determine immediately? What do you think, Sherry?
Friend or foe?
Friend or foe, right? So it's like if they're a friend, we need to rush out and help them in, probably get some water for them and some food. If it's a foe, we need to sound the alarm and arm up. We need to be ready to fight because it's probably a scout for a foe. But here's the thing. We recognize their friend or foe, we know how to react, and we go. Well, that's the same thing with our relationships, is when we meet someone within 7 seconds, in some cases, 7 seconds, we have determined friend or foe. And here's the problem with that. We've determined it, and they go into kind of a slot in our brain. And that slot is, if we interact anymore, we'll interact some more. It'll be friendly, or it won't be much interaction at all. Well, the problem is we only really build relationships to the 4 through 7 range. We don't build relationships to the 9 and 10 range. Well, when you have momentum, especially early on in the relationship, just blow right past 4 through 7 and go straight through 9 or 10. Well, how do you do that? A momentum system. You do it by following up in a phenomenal way. An example is the 333. You have a one-to-one with a networking partner. You finish with 3 things you can do in 3 minutes that buy you 3 days of excellent service or relationship power. And what it is you send them a text right after you're done, follow-up text. We talk about that a lot. And then you're going to send them an email that's just thank you. And then you're going to write them a power note. That is a thank you. So they get the text message immediately. They get the email later, maybe the next day, and then they get the handwritten note 3 days later. Well, you have now taken that stranger, most likely, if the meeting went pretty well, from a 0 to at least a 9. And then you keep the momentum by then inviting them to an event. They meet other people who love you. Now they're a 10. It's easier to keep someone at a 10 than it is to take an old 5 and move them to a 6 or 7. So that's the importance of momentum. And, once again, I'm going to teach that in Maymentum and show you exactly how to do that step by step. So check out maymentum.com. I've got it in my headline down here, Maymentum, maymentum.com. All right. So the third question, this is the biggest opportunity question. And it is, where is our or my biggest opportunity right now? And notice how this kind of plays with momentum. In a lot of ways, the biggest opportunity is probably going to come from that relationship you have the most momentum in. You might want to write that down. You might want to just have that in your office on a daily basis. My biggest opportunity right now might be the relationship I have the most momentum in right now. Just how it works. So what is my or our biggest opportunity right now? I'll tell you a little story on BAM, our buyer agent mastery class. We did agent track in November by demand. We had a lot of realtors asking us, would we do something specific for agents? We had done a little bit of an agent track at an event a couple of years ago, and it got good response. But you got to realize the 7 levels of communication. It works for any industry. Well, so any industry came to us. So we are working with lots of industries, but my background is real estate. So we've had this refocus of real estate, especially since the agent track and then December. And I told the team in December, we're going to do buyer agent mastery and we're going to do seller agent mastery. We have the best buyer consultation system in the world, I believe. And I believe that we have maybe one of the best listing systems, our smooth selling system in the world. And we haven't taught it. Why the heck have we not taught this? Well, because our focus has been referrals and referral systems and selling. And guess what? Now we can do both. We have the capacity and the leverage to make it happen. Well, what was our biggest opportunity? Well, here comes the NAR settlement proposal. What do people need? They need BAM. They need buyer agent mastery. And that was an opportunity to help a lot of people. And now it's helping a lot of people. So we were ready, but I could have set on BAM for a year, but what does the real estate world need? They needed a buyer's consultation system. They needed a buyer system, and we have it. So guess what? I designed, over 30 days and continuing to tweak is buyer agent mastery. So what's your biggest opportunity right now? Look around. What are the trends? What are the things that are in your favor? Where is the opportunity? Where is the deal? what's the fastest path to the cash? That's one of my coaches said for years. What's the fastest path to the cash? Where is your opportunity to make money right now? You know? So, Cherry, anything to add to that on biggest opportunity and that kind of thing?
No, I mean, no, I think you explained it amazingly. But it is a question that people don't ask themselves a lot. So,
It isn't. And it also applies to parenting for me personally. I find myself, even when I'm doing this from a business standpoint, I will think of Max a lot. And I will think of, what is his biggest opportunity right now? And a lot of times it's educational or athletics. Sorry, that's me. I mean, and that's Max. I mean, how would he would say he's an athlete, right? He would say, I am Max. If you asked him like, finish this sentence, the word I am, the first one is I am Max. And I'm like, all right, good work. That's it. You are right. He's a very literal kid, right? He's not spiritual looking into the depths of that question, right? I am Max. And then it's like, all right, well, like let's use an adjective, a descriptive word. And he goes, I know what a descriptive word is, Dad. I know what an adjective is. Okay, I get it. All right. So then it's like I am an athlete, right? And he is an athlete. So, the biggest opportunity right now, and it's like he really wants to play professional baseball. He really wants to go well, he needs to work on his quickness and his foot speed a little bit. So what's the biggest opportunity? Let's get him in track. Well, now he's in track and he's already gotten a lot faster. He's already gotten a lot stronger. He has experienced the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So it's like that's a lot of times things that we think about, right? And then the fourth question. This one is a big one. This is the focus of a system called Focus Quest. It used to be called the Forgotten Strategy because in 7L, I had a little Easter egg in there that said, go here for the strategy I forgot to put. There's 100 strategies in this book. I forgot one. Go here. And I was hoping people would go there, and they did. And then the Forgotten Strategy has grown into this beautiful system that you could literally use for any networking meeting. You could use it for any team meeting with staff or assistants or virtual assistants. And it's called Focus Quest. Well, the first question on Focus Quest, get it? Focus Quest. We're questing for focus and it's questions. And focus is an acronym for finish one challenge until success. Finish one challenge until success. Well, what is the challenge? Well, what challenge should you focus on until success? Your biggest challenge. So this is what is my or our biggest challenge right now? What's our biggest threat? What's our biggest challenge? What's our biggest weakness? What is the thing? And so many times that's been leverage, right? So we need people, right? We need people, talented people. And that's kind of been the thing that has been for a while, and we keep adding and keep tweaking, and we get better. And it's like, all right, what is our biggest challenge right now? And so, Sherry, anything to add on the, what is your biggest challenge right now? And just so everybody knows, I know you're asking about the focus quest and stuff like that. We can get that download to you in the group. If you join gengen.com, we will get you the focus quest order of questions. But essentially, there is a series of questions that come from this. I know them, so I don't necessarily have to have all 7 of those questions as a follow through to this question. But essentially, it's what's your biggest challenge right now? What have you tried so far? And be exhaustive with that. What are you going to do next? What's the first next step? Who could help you with that? And then, by when are you going to get that first next step done or contact that person? And then the last question is how can I help you, or how can I help this get done, basically. So that is this. I just gave you the 7 questions of focus off the top of my head. That tells you how many times I've done that. So any questions or any suggestions on the biggest challenge question? Sure. What is your biggest challenge right now? I'm genuinely curious. What is your biggest challenge right now? It's obviously not hair. Your hair looks fantastic, like all the time. Like, It's obviously not husband issues. I'm just saying. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
obviously from a personal standpoint, you've done well there. So, uh,
Yeah.
what's your biggest challenge
Yeah.
right now? Seriously.
Um, my biggest challenge right now is it's probably still leverage to some degree. I am a collector. I hang on to things. So it's always been, I mean, that's kind of like always a good challenge for me.
Makes sense. What have you tried so far to leverage? What have you tried so far to get some help? What have you tried in the
Well,
past?
well, I mean, we've added a lot of people to our team. So like, and it's not just, I mean, adding people, it's, you know, we've added people to our team this year that I feel confident enough to completely hand it off. So, um, so that's, I mean, that's big.
Okay. Anything else that you've tried in the past or tried so far when it comes to conquering the leverage problem?
No, just, I mean, to gain leverage, you have to hand stuff off. So,
Yeah. So what are you going to do next?
um, probably, I mean, define, like group tasks
Mm-hmm.
that are similar and
Mm-hmm.
then find someone to take those over.
Okay. What's the first next step then?
Group tasks. Look at my every Monday, I create my list for the week
Mm-hmm.
and like just look at the ones that carry over
Mm.
and look at the ones
It's a
that
great
are
habit, by the
similar
way. It's a great habit. Yeah. And okay, so what's your first next step again?
to group my tasks.
Okay. Is there anyone that can help you with that or anyone that can assist you with that or that kind of thing?
They're in my notebook.
Do what?
They're in my
Okay.
notebook.
Okay. And by when? When do you want to go through grouping those tasks?
Probably the end of the week.
Okay. Okay. How can I help you with that?
Um, maybe just asking me if I've done it
Okay. When do you want me to ask you?
Friday,
Okay. What time? Morning or afternoon?
3:30.
3:30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it. I like it. Good. Does that help? That good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You can leverage in three different ways, right? People, systems, and technology. And technology is really tools, people, system, and tools. And one of the tools is technology. Do you feel like do you feel like that leverage is going to end up being a person? Do you think it's going to be a system? Or do you think it's going to be like a tool or an app or a software or a technology?
Probably a person.
Okay, cool. And once you group the task, like where to go to get the
Mm-hmm.
person. Could be virtual, could be in person, could
Yeah.
be could be live in Atlanta, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. I like it. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Was today good for you, Sharon? Was it
Sure.
good? Was it good for you?
Oh my God.
It was good for me.
I
Was
did
it good for
not
you?
just ask that.
This was so good.
Mental note edit at minute.
No, no edit. No. And you can't mute me. Oh, wait, you can. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you, Cherry? What good? I mean, the four clarifying questions, right? Clarity is power. What is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes either easier and or unnecessary? Where do we have momentum right now? The momentum question. And then where is the biggest opportunity right now? Where's the biggest opportunity right now? And then the last one is, what is your or what is my or our biggest challenge right now, the biggest challenge question. One thing, momentum, opportunity, and challenge. Those are the 4 clarifying questions. I hope this has given you clarity, and we all understand that clarity is power. Sherry, any words of wisdom or final thoughts before we call it done?
No. I mean, implement it and like report back in Gen. Let us know if the questions have unveiled anything. I think when you start doing it, things will be unveiled to you that you know that you had no idea. So
Yeah, love that. Love that. Very good. Well, first item is happy birthday to Sherry. Happy Earth Day. Happy Arbor Day. This is your week to plant a flower, plant a bush, plant a tree, or simply buy flowers for your house, for your apartment, for your condo, whatever it may be. Brighten up your life this week. Plant a tree, plant a bush, plant a flower, get yourself some flowers, do some landscaping. If it's just a potted flower by your front door, make it happen. Add some color, add some life to your life, and do that in dedication to Sherry Maher's birthday. It is Earth Day. And the next thing is make sure you sign up for Momentum. Go to momentum.com to get the Momentum Challenge. It is a Monday through Friday challenge. So in May, it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it'll be Monday through Friday. So the Momentum Challenge will not be covered on weekends. It will be in a very powerful showcase where you can just kind of roll with them, and sign up for Momentum now. If you're in Referral Mastery Academy, make that happen. You check the email out, make sure that you're signed up. And then for the rest of you that are interested, sign up out at momentum.com, and also check out Referral Mastery Academy while you're there. The rest of you, implement the 4 clarifying questions in your business, in your life, and report back to us in joingengen.com, and look for the download, the Focus Quest download in the file section of joingengen.com. Everybody, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Referrals Podcast. Hopefully you found this enlightening and educating and entertaining. And please, if you did, please share us. Let other people know about what we're doing. Rate and review what we're doing here. People do read those. They do refer the people who rate and review Referrals Podcast. And we will see you next week, next time on Referrals Podcast. Love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time. As always, thank you for listening to the Referrals Podcast and reviewing the show on your favorite app. We read every single review, and I know many people read the reviews, and in some cases have even referred the people who have done reviews. And I give a shout out occasionally to the ones that I love the most. A very special thank you for sharing the show with other business people, salespeople, including realtors, lenders, warranty reps, title, and honestly, any business that wants and need referrals, and what business doesn't want repeat business and referral business. Every time you share the show, you're potentially changing someone's life, because they can go from pushy salespeople or trying to do business the traditional way to building a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation that floods them with referrals and repeat business. And when they go to bed at night, they can put their head on their pillow and relax, because they understand that they can have peace of mind about where their next piece of business comes from. Go to joingengen.com and we'll add you to our private Facebook group. That's joingengen.com, joingengen.com. We'd love to have you. And stay tuned for the next episode of Referrals Podcast.